Okay, good morning, everybody. I'm sorry, I just sent out an email notifying parents that we have a change in topic. My brain has been preoccupied the past week and a half, as I'm sure you can imagine. And I was like, oh, we're gonna do social media today, completely forgetting we had AP night last night, and the counselors always come to the next Zoom with the principal after we do a parent presentation. So we're talking about advanced placement classes today. 3 of our counselors are with us to help answer any of your questions. They're not going to redo their presentation from last night, but they will answer any of your questions. So you can put questions in the chat and I will manage that and ask, and we'll look at the questions and read the questions. Or you can always raise your hand if you just wanted to verbalize your question, you can do that too. We will talk about social media next week. We do have a presentation ready to go, but we'll do that next week. Okay, so to start us out, how is the elective credit work? Are any extra credits counts towards the elective credit? For example, you take band for 2 semesters. What about AP biology? It's 20 credit course with 10 credits counting towards science and the other counts towards electives. Thank you. All right, who wants to take that?
I can take that. Okay. You guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. This is Jen Tu Nguyen. So I'm gonna answer this question in the chat box. How's the elective credit work? So we in our PowerPoint, not last night PowerPoint, but previous PowerPoint, we share with students that they want to focus on the total credits first, 220, and then the subject area credits. The elective credits, to be honest, is not really a big deal because as long as you have subject area credits fulfilled, and if you add up total to 220, you don't need to worry about elective credits. However, there's some specific scenario. For example, and this question asking about if taking an extra year band help. Taking an extra years of band or any visual performing art or any subject shows student, passion in that specific subject area. And under the college eyes, it shows the student have a passion, and that is great. About AP biology, the question is that, is this a 20 credits course with 10 credits count towards science and the other counts toward elective? No, actually, this is 20 credits for science. However, if you read the requirements, in order to fulfill the science credits, students need to have 10 credits of biological science and 10 credits of physical science. So this student, if taking AP biology, they will have 20 science credits, but they still need the 10 credits of physical science. But however, it shouldn't be a concern because in order to be eligible to take AP biology, students already had to have chemistry from sophomore year. So, there's a lot of, background information behind that. But, to be short, students just need to worry about subject area credits first and then total credits. And we will go from that. Okay, hopefully I answer your question. Feel free to have follow-up question if you still need more clarification.
Anybody else have anything to add?
Yes, and Miss Cody and Miss IC, do you have any things to add?
I would just say, so, I mean, your description was right on. Pretty much anything in excess of what is required for graduation. So anything in excess in a subject would just count toward that overall 220 credits. So, it's generally not a concern, is it?
Mm-hmm.
So as we're waiting for people to put questions on the chat, I just allowed screen share. I don't know if you guys want to show, and somebody wants to share their screen to show people like where on our website they can find counseling information. That's always a good thing to re-show because we do have a lot of information in the presentations that you guys do on the website.
Sure. Yeah, let me share. Let me see. Okay, I can share. So this is the PowerPoint we used yesterday, but here I want to show you how to look for the counseling website. So when you go to our school website, right, it looks like this. And yes, there will be several tabs on top. You're gonna click on counseling. And there's a lot of information here you see. But you know, and then when you scroll down to presentation, you click on that. You will see all of the present we have in the past and the upcoming presentation. So anything with the hyperlink here, you can click on and it will lead you to the PowerPoint that we already presented to students. So 9, get to see here, 9, 10, everything. Okay, so this is for fall semester. And then when you scroll down, you're gonna see what this is for also last semester and upcoming one for scheduling presentation here. We have day and time. And then upcoming is the spring presentation for community college events and things. And college information night in April, summer information night. So there's a lot. Those that already passed, we will have hyperlink to the presentation. Those that not happened yet, we will have the Zoom link or the location if this is in-person presentation. And we would encourage you to check out counseling's page. There's a lot more information, a lot of the resources that are going to be helpful for students to prepare for college, career, financial aid, everything. So is that what you want me to share, Ms.
Yeah,
Kat?
that's perfect. Thank you. So we have a question that came up in the chat. Does AP Computer Science principles count as a math class?
I can take that one. So our AP Computer Science Principles course can it actually counts towards science, but not but as like an extra science beyond those 2 years. So for example, it can only be used to fulfill like the recommended 3rd year of a science. It does not count as a biological or physical science. That's for AP Computer Science Principles though. AP Computer Science A counts towards math. And again, that would be like, extra math for students, not like our math 1, 2, 3 math analysis. So they both kind of count in different ways.
Okay, yeah, I think so. I know it's confusing with the computer sciences. Is AP World History the only class available for 10th graders to take? For AP classes, I guess.
I can take that. Yeah, but then it also have some other option if your child is eligible. For example, we have AP Calculus, AP, and if the student eligible, it means that they have to be currently in math analysis. So in 10th grade, they can move on with Calculus AP. So the reason that why we see a lot of students can only take one AP World History class in 10th grade because they're not eligible to take the other AP courses yet.
They can also take AP Computer Science Principles as a 10th grader, correct?
10th grade. Oh, okay, that's good. Thank you for adding that. But then with make sure they have to meet the requirements, and the requirement for AP Computer Science Principle is concurrently or completion of Math 3.
Yeah, so they have to be in the right level of math, and then they also have to fit it in their schedule. The 10th grade year is a difficult year to fit a lot of extra electives in because they have a lot of still required classes to take. Is there max AP courses each year that students can take?
I guess I'll take that one. We do try to help our students make wise choices, and AP courses are rigorous. They're college level types of courses. And so we do have to help them be mindful of that, because sometimes they are very much influenced by their peers when they're making choices of classes. And so we really walk them through making, good choices. The other thing too is that we have to make sure that all students have an opportunity to be able to take, the classes that they wish to take. And so we, make sure that everyone has kind of that equal opportunity to sign up for classes. And so if somebody is trying to take 5 or 6 AP classes and that doesn't allow somebody else to take a course, we want to make sure it's fair for everyone as well. The other thing too is that students have to have the right prerequisites to go into courses. And so we work with the student they have, but bottom line is we do try to make sure that they're making good choices.
Yeah, I mean, that's always a difficult question because we don't have a limit, but we have what we recommend, and each student is an individual. Some students totally can handle 5 AP classes. Some students can barely handle 1. So it just really, really depends on the student. Next question. My kid is a 9th grader currently taking Art 1, and she would like to take sculpture next year in the 10th grade. In order to take sculpture, can she have a 7-period schedule, or can she postpone PE?
I think the 7-period schedule, we don't really know yet at this time, if I'm not mistaken, right, Ginny?
Yeah, I mean, I think we probably could, because what's complicated about this is we're still in the midst of deciding what our bell schedule is going to be next year. And are we going to have a 7-period day, or are we going to only have a 6-period day? If we only have a 6-period day, the opportunity for kids to take extra classes is going to be very, very limited. If we have a 7-period day, then that's probably going to be fine. So I know that that's throwing a wrench in because we're also doing scheduling right now. Hopefully we actually have a meeting with the department heads this afternoon where we're going to figure out when we're going to vote on the schedule and have a better timeline. So we should know, I would say within a month, which way we're going to go. But I mean, the overall answer to your question is yes, we can figure out a way for her to take sculpture.
And I think I'd just want to add to that too, like you mentioned before, the sophomore year, the 10th grade year it has so many different requirements that are packed in for students that of courses that they have to take. They have to take their world history class, they have to take an English, they have to take a math, they have to take chemistry. And if they're doing a world language class this year, likely they would continue with that world language class next year. And then there's PE in there as well. So there are so many different things that are required in 10th grade that it sometimes makes it difficult for students to squeeze that in. But yes, a 7-period day certainly can solve that problem.
Yeah. And, one thing when you're talking, if you are the parent of a current 9th grader and you're looking at the 10th grade year, a lot of times 10th graders, it's a little dismaying because they don't get a lot of choices, because basically, these are the classes you're taking in your 10th grade year. It's actually the easiest year for us to schedule because they just take the next level and then we add world history. I mean, it's actually, there's not a lot of choices. But when they, let them know when they get to be a junior and senior, they're going to have a lot of choices and it's going to open up, greatly. Just keep that in mind. So the 10th grade year is difficult to fit in extra electives. Okay, so is AP Computer Science Principal course counted as math or science? We talked about this just a little while ago. It's a science. I know that's confusing because it's actually taught by a math teacher, but it is considered a science, but it's not a science. It's not one of the biological or physical sciences. It's a interdisciplinary science. And so it can count as that 3rd year of science, but they're going to still need the biological and physical science. It can't count towards one of those. Can a 10th grader take that? Yes, they can, but they have to be in at least Math 3. And again, they have to be able to fit it in their schedule. And 10th graders, like we just said, it's very difficult. They don't have a lot of room for electives. So they may not be able to take it their 10th grade year. I thought the 7th period was only for performing arts. No, we offer it to, usually they have to be in a specialized or they're taking a specialized class. So if they're in one of the CTE, like the business or construction, certainly with performing arts, we allow it. But we do allow some period days. This is going to be a short meeting. If you guys have questions. Oh, here we go. Follow up for the sculpture question. Is postponing a PE an option? It is an option. We tend to discourage that because they are going to have to take PE at some point, and because PE2 is mostly sophomores, a lot of times kids feel kind of weird being a junior or senior in a sophomore class. So that's, because it's primarily sophomores, like 99% of them. So it is an option, but just keep that in mind. Can AP psychology be counted as a third year science?
So actually AP psychology is a social science course. It would be considered just as extra, extra social sciences for students. It could also count as their category G, college prep elective extras. So it's actually, it's coded under social sciences.
I know that's confusing because oftentimes people think psychology and science, but it's one of the histories. Does student allowed to request change to her current counselor? Are you asking if they can change their counselor? No, they can't change their counselor. They can always, if you're asking if they can change, like they sign up for their classes and then they want to change them later, yes, they can do that. And they go to their counselor to do that. So we're starting the scheduling process now. Really, you guys are getting into in February and March is when you guys are going to be doing the one-on-one meetings with students. And that's really where they're going to be signing up for their classes. Right now, we're just presenting a bunch of information so that students can make choices and they're very informed about their choices. And then they meet with their counselor to schedule their classes. And basically we tell them our rule is you have until them pretty much, I would say the middle to the end of the summer to change their mind. It gets difficult. The more time you wait to change your mind, the more difficult it is because then there's not room in other classes. If you want to change your elective, you said, I want to take AP psychology, and then you change your mind and then you say, no, I want to take forensics instead. I'm just making up classes. There may not be room in the class. And so you may not be able to do that. So just kids changing their mind, that can be a difficult thing. We do allow them to do it up until the schedules are printed and we're ready to go, which is right before school started. I heard AP Physics 2 is not available this year. Is that true? My daughter is AP Physics 1. And what will happen if you're not offering AP Physics 2 next year? That is not true. We are offering AP Physics 2. So I guess the question is, if we only have 5 kids sign up for AP Physics 2, then that's not enough students to run it. So hopefully all the kids in AP Physics 1, so tell your daughter to tell all her friends in the class to make sure to sign up for AP Physics 2, and then we'll be able to run it. That won't be a problem. That's always a concern with a class like that, because not that many kids take it. So it has to be above a certain level. Usually to run a class realistically, we need about 20 kids in it. That would be the low end that we could run a class. But we are offering it. And I guess if we do end up not offering it, well, I want to be careful what I say. Because I don't want to make promises for Mr. Averly, but he does usually let kids kind of do it on their own and do a self-study, and we have worked that out for students to do a self-study for physics. So we'll figure something out if for whatever reason we don't have enough kids to run AP Physics 2, but I would hope that we're actually running AP Physics 2. That would be my intention, that we're running that class. My kid wants to take art AP, but you're not offering it. Does she take it outside somewhere and get credit? We do we do offer art AP, and it is, and so I don't know what you mean by she doesn't meet the prerequisites for advanced art study, because the advanced art study is the art AP. We don't have enough students that want to do one of the studio art classes to be like, again, this is kind of like the physics. We don't have enough kids to actually run a full section of it. We do advanced art study where they, you know, are in with the teacher and they're kind of doing self-study, and like they work together. If she didn't take art 1, I would say what she needs to do, and counselors correct me, she should go talk to the art teachers, show them her portfolio, because I'm assuming if she's like that high of an artist that she feels like she can do a studio art class, she's got work to show them, and they would say like, yes, okay, and we can make exceptions. So anyway, counselors, do you have anything to add to that?
I would agree with that. I think the advanced art study is also kind of dependent upon the medium in which they want to pursue, and then they work with that particular teacher who predominantly, you know, teaches that medium, if I'm not mistaken, as well.
Yeah.
So like if they were really into photography, then they might work with, you know, with Mr. Tippett's, or if they were really into, you know, drawing and painting, maybe they would work with another art teacher and so on.
Yeah, so it's Mr. Tippett's, Ms. Bragg, and Ms. Nguyen. So honestly, any of the 3 of them could answer any questions for the whole visual arts department.
And I don't want to totally put this out there, but I have occasionally had some students who end up taking a course at a community college as well, where there might have, you know, they might have additional offerings in a particular area that a student is really passionate about with regard to art. That might be something as well that students look at.
Okay, so the question about the electives, and so I'll go over this again. Basically, we say don't worry about electives. If a student is passing all of their classes and they're like concentrating on their core classes, they are going to get their electives, and you don't have to worry about them. Like they're just going to be there, so you don't have to worry. But if you're looking at like, so just you just need to look at like, you know, and if you're talking about AP classes and like that level of classes, then you're looking, I'm making the assumption that you're looking at A through G because you're looking to go to a 4-year college. And so you look at the A through G requirements. So there is the G elective, you know, and there is the G elective, they're going to get like so many of our classes count as that it's fine. You don't have to worry about that. They do have to take a visual or performing arts as I know, is it the F? The F. So they do have to take that. So they are going to have to take at some point a visual or performing art. It's not all math and science. They have to branch out a little bit at some point. But Art 1 counts as that. They don't have to take like a fancy advanced art class. Like Art 1 counts as that. Drama counts as that. So advanced, go ahead.
Sorry, you're done. I just want to clarify a little bit on the elective question. So, you know, every student in their senior year, they have to take government and econ, and that is a required class. And because college also only require 2 years of social science, and government and econ is the 3rd year of social science that the student have to take in order to fulfill high school graduation. So that extra years of social science will be counted as an elective for college A to G. And that's why elective credits shouldn't be a problem, because every student will at least have 1 or more or many extra elective credits.
Yeah.
Also, I want to clarify, because the parent follow up on that question about biology and elective. You know, biology is science credits, and you're talking about, but will she have to take another elective such as photography or web tech? You know, for the college requirements is 1 year of fine art. So the student have to take fine art. So biology is nothing related to photography, right? So biology will fulfill science credits, And the student, in order to be fulfilled 1 year of visual or performing art, they can take any class under that area, and photography can be one. I hope I answered your questions. Okay. I also see the next question. I'm not sure if I got distracted, and if not sure if anybody answered yet. So advanced art study is an AP class or not? We've not answered yet, right?
No, we haven't.
So no, it's not an AP class, but students, if they sign up for that class, they can work with teachers to build a portfolio for AP exam if they want to do so.
So the difference is, what that means is on their transcript, it's not going to show an AP class. But they have the opportunity to submit the AP art portfolio and get the AP credit. So it's kind of a weird, it's not going to be on the transcript that they took an AP class, but they can submit a portfolio. My kid plans on submitting an AP art portfolio in the 11th grade. Does she need to take an art class in the 11th grade, or she just needs to be in contact with the art teacher to sponsor her, not counting as a period? Do we need them to be in advanced art study, or can they just like do it on their own? I know with the AP, this might be more of a question for Ms. Pereira, and so I would actually email her because she's technically our AP coordinator. You do, because with that portfolio piece with AP, like there is a piece that the teacher has to do. So you do actually have to be connected with the teacher. So I don't know if we've done it before where they're just kind of doing on their own. That's an individual thing that maybe we can work out, but yeah.
I want to say from the experiences that I've had with students, they were typically tied to an advanced art, but I get it. That's a great question. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think technically we can work it out. They would just have to be really self-motivated. The benefit of actually having that class where it's part of their schedule is there's time devoted to work on that, because there is, like, you do have to submit quite a few pieces of work, which takes a lot of time. And so it's nice for them to have that time in the schedule to be working on that all year. But, some students, like, they're an artist, they're just doing it on their own. So I think 1 year a band counts towards, yes, it's a performing arts. Band, drama, guitar, music, any of the music classes, any of the drama classes are performing arts. When a student starts scheduled to see counselor, will the parents get notified email as well? So the meetings for the kids to meet with their counselor, it's going to happen during the school day, and the parent does not attend that. So we pull them out of class. They will get a slip saying show up at the counseling office at this time. And so they'll be notified. We'll let the parents know, like, this is the week that we're calling in juniors, like, for their senior year next year. And so you'll know that if you're a parent of the junior, at some point during that week, they're going to see their counselor. So you'll know that it's happening that week.
Exactly.
Yeah, hopefully that answered your question. But should a parent have some paper to note the schedule? Well, you should be talking to your kid about what they're going to sign up for. But we don't have the parents sign anything or anything like that. Later in the spring, we send out a notice of kind of a confirmation sheet, sort of like, these are the classes you're signed up for next year. We'll let the parents know when those are sent out so that you can see it, but we don't require any sort of parent participation in the scheduling process. We're just, and honestly, we're assuming that you are communicating with your child and that you know what they're going to sign up for.
Can I add to that?
Yeah,
quick too?
yeah.
And then we met with students in December. We brought students into the library and talked with them and led them through developing their 4-year plan or modifying their 4-year plan depending on their grade level. At the end of that process, we had students, if they had the ability to, take a picture of that 4-year plan or copy down that 4-year plan to take home and share with their family. So you could ask your student about that. And that was just kind of like a guideline for them to see like what courses they might be planning on over the next few years. And that's a great way to start that discussion about the courses that they're looking at for next year.
Yeah.
For this,
go ahead. Yeah,
I was
please.
just gonna say I can take the one about the language
Oh
requirements.
yeah. I
So,
was just gonna read it.
okay.
So for the
So,
2 years of language requirement, does it have to be the same language?
So yes, for A through G requirements, the foreign language requirement has to be the same language. So that would be a sequence. If your student is in a higher level, however, that would count for whatever year that may be, and that would complete the A through G requirements for that particular language. So if they were in a higher, like if they started off in a higher level than level 1, then they would have completed what the A through G requirement is for the 2 years. And some of our classes count as even higher. So our native Spanish, sorry, I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but that counts as a higher level than just a year 1 Spanish course. And so they would already have completed the requirement for A through G just by completing that course. So hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah, so just to explain that, like how you would start higher, unfortunately, none of our feeder schools actually offer world language. And so we don't have a lot of kids that come in at a higher level. Usually most of our kids start at level 1. And so then they just follow the normal sequence and have to do the 2 years. But if you were at a different, or you were at a private school and you took Spanish 1 in the 8th grade, then you could start at Spanish 2. You've completed the A through G requirement by being in Spanish 2, because the requirement is that you get to the 2nd level. So that's what that means. But like, yeah, some of the classes, like Spanish for native speakers, that actually, because it's a higher level class, that counts as the level 2. So they really only need to take that 1 year. One thing I would add about, and what a lot of people, our world languages, I think sometimes, kids are like, oh, I'm just going to do the 2 years and I'm good. If you are looking to, and your child is looking to get into a competitive 4-year school, plan on taking that 3rd year. This is one of the things that, like, we don't have enough kids taking that 3rd year. And that really is what like sets kids apart. It's really, really important to take that 3rd year, if not the 4th. I would say the 4th is probably, that's a bonus, but the 3rd year, they say, if they say recommended, they might as well say required, to be honest with these colleges. Like, plan on the 3rd year.
I want to echo that big time. Like and especially when looking through transcripts, if I see that a student went to a 4th year of a language, it stands out leaps and bounds.
Yeah. Okay, so this is about weighted GPA. I heard AP class and A counts as a 5, but on the transcript, I only see the unweighted GPA. When they apply for college, do we need to calculate the weighted GPA by ourselves? How does that work?
Do you want to take?
I can take that. So you are right. The AP course gives student with a C or better, gives student an extra point. So an A in an AP class will give student extra point. That's count for add up after 4. It's going to be 1 more, is 5. So, and you are right, on our district transcript, we only post system unweighted GPA, but students don't have to report the weighted GPA. The college is going to be the one who do, weighted GPA, and they have their own system to calculate their weighted GPA. But if you are curious, want to know what is your appropriate weighted GPA, you can search on Csu Gpa Calculator. You can Google Csu Gpa Calculator, and there is format, a formula, and you can enter your grade, and they will calculate automatically for you, so you get an idea.
And colleges know that our GPA is an unweighted GPA. I mean, we have to report that, and so they know that we don't weight them.
Yeah, we know, they know that, especially for private college, we also send a school profile with more information.
And my kid is going to do an AP art portfolio at her outside art school. Does she still need to talk to the school art teacher to sign off on her portfolio or to take the AP art exam? Oh, that's very complicated. So what I would do is I would talk to your AP or your outside art school and see, do they have a relationship with the College Board that they can sign her up to do it through them? Because if they can do it through them, well then cool, just do it through them and like you've got it all. If they don't have that capacity where they can, have a relationship with the College Board where they can offer an AP the portfolio and she has to do it through us, then she's going to have to work with a teacher here because they're with the AP. Some of you that are like, my kid's never taking an art class, I have no idea what you're talking about this. I'm sure this is like, you're like, whoa. With the studio art, the AP studio art, there's like two parts to it. There's an online part where they have to submit works online. And that's the part that the teacher has to sign off on. Like there is a part where the teacher like has to go in and they have to sign off on it. And then there's like the big like portfolio where we like put in the works and we ship it off to AP. So there's like two parts to it. So there is a teacher component. So if the outside art school they don't have a relationship with the College Board where they can offer it through themselves, then they are going to have to work with a teacher here. Follow-up question, the 4-year plan can be changed along the way. No, they have to choose all their courses in their freshman year. No, I'm kidding. Yes, they can always, change because that would be ridiculous to ask a 14-year-old to make plans for the rest of their lives. So they can always change. Because you may see, if you have a freshman, you may look at their 4-year plan and think that they are crazy. Like our associate principal, Ms. Pereira, she looked at her daughter's 4-year plan and she was like, "What? No, this is not going to work." So I definitely look at your child's 4-year plan because that's a really great opportunity to have a conversation with them about maybe they're being way ambitious and they've signed up for every single AP class that we offer and that's not the type of student they are, or maybe they're not pushing themselves hard enough. So that's definitely, it's a great time to have a conversation with them. Bit confused about the 3rd-year science requirement. Is it required for graduation or A through G? If my kid only took the required bio and chem in the 9th and 10th, she has to take another one in the 11th and 12th, such as AP Physics, Chem, or Environmental Science.
I can take it. So for graduation, students need to have 2 years of science. 1 year has to be a biological science. 1 year has to be a physical science. That's often met through 9th and 10th grade. For A through G requirements, same thing applies. Students they're required to have 2 years of science, 1 year of biological, 1 year of physical, grades of C or higher. It is recommended that students take a 3rd year of science for A through G requirements. So again, it kind of depends on what their post-secondary plans are or like maybe what types of schools they might be applying to. That's where that recommended wording comes in. And so if they are considering taking a 3rd year of science, we have lots of different options for them to choose from.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be an AP class that 3rd year. I mean, we do a lot of the science classes that we offer for the 3rd year are AP. We've talked about the AP Bio, we've talked about the AP Chem, there's environmental science. There's also forensics. Forensics is not an AP class. Physics, we do offer AP Physics, but there's also regular physics that's not an AP class, but that counts as a 3rd year.
I just want to remind you that we send a PowerPoint, and in this PowerPoint that you see it right here, this is a handout of the comparison of high school graduation and college A to G requirements. And students have a hard copy of this too if they want to refer to.
Okay. Is it an option to take certain classes pass, no pass this year? No, that's not something that's happening this year. That was something that happened last year because of distance learning and the special circumstances that we were on last year. But we are obviously in full in-person school this year. So there is no pass, no pass option this year. I heard that taking the Berryessa Chinese school in Berryessa, it will have credits towards the high school Chinese credit. Is this true? How does that work? Does a student not take any language in high school? I don't think that's true.
I think if anything, what typically would happen is if a student comes into our school and they've had past experience with a language, they would work with that teacher in our school to see maybe what level they're at and placed accordingly. That's what I typically think happens.
Yeah. So to clear that up, classes that you take at a Chinese school outside Piedmont Hills is not going to be something that we put on the transcript. They're not going to get credits for that. It may be that and our Chinese teacher does work with students over the summer and like kind of assesses them about what level they should be going into. And so if they are higher than a level 1, so we do have freshmen that start in Chinese 3, for example, because they are at a much higher level. And so they can skip the levels 1 and 2 and go into the appropriate level, but they aren't getting high school credits for classes that they took someplace else. Hopefully that.
And then the benefit of that, though, is if they place into a 3rd year of a language, colleges and universities would recognize that they had like the equivalent of 3 years of a language. Although the credits wouldn't be on the transcript, they would recognize it as the student has achieved a third level of a language.
For world history class, generally, what percentage of students would take AP world history? More than half? No, not more than half at all. I would say 15%, maybe.
That seems about right.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, AP world history is a hard class. It's not easy. And a lot of times kids jump into it because it's their first opportunity of taking an AP class. They want to take it. Do not take AP world history unless you like history and you like reading and you like writing, because there's a lot of that. If they are a student that they don't like to read, they don't like to write, this is not going to be the class for them. So it's a tough class. There's a lot of expectations on it because, yeah. So yeah, no, all right. How counselor mentioned that a student regarding 3rd year credit. I've not that 3rd credit meeting. She mentioned only 2 years. I'm assuming this question is talking about the world language and that, what our suggestion about the 3rd year. So yeah, we oftentimes we talk about that there's 2 years required because that is a hard requirement to get into a 4-year college, that they have to have that 2nd year. So this is just my recommendation. Doing this a really long time and seeing where kids need to, it depends. Like I said, if they're going to be applying to a very competitive school and wanting to get into a really competitive school, having that 3rd year of a world language is really important. What's the difference between ERWC and English 4? Somebody want to take that? I can take it. Difference between ERWC and English 4. English 4 is more literature based. And ERW, the easiest way to say is English 4 is more literature based. There is writing in it, but it's, writing about literature. It's probably more closely aligned to AP Lit, except maybe less strenuous than AP Lit. ERWC is a writing class, and it is based on like argumentative type, what kind of writing? My brain is not working right now. Basically, it's the type of writing. Oh, thank you, Miss.
I put the descriptions in there too.
Perfect. It's the type of writing that they're going to need in college. So ERWC is a really great class if your student is not that strong of a writer and they are planning on going to a 4-year college. It's actually a really great class to prepare them for the type of writing that they're going to have to do in college, because that's what it's designed to do. So if your kid's already a good writer that they don't need help with more writing, then, English 4 AP Lit is, probably the better choice.
yeah, so I put the descriptions in there. And I think what we commonly see is if a student decides in 11th grade that they'd like to take an AP, English composition class, and then in senior year in 12th grade, they're not quite so sure they want to move on to another AP English class, then what we see is that they typically go into English 4 because they have already learned some of those skills that are taught in ERWC in their AP English language course. Hopefully that makes sense a little bit. Jump in and clarify a little bit if you want, counselors.
Yeah, okay, so there's this question. I want to clear up the world language stuff and what we're talking about, because I know this is really confusing. Because I had made a comment like, oh, you could start at year 3 in Chinese. And I think this is where this is coming from. The world language requirement for A through G is not 2 years. It's you have to do at least the 2nd level. So I know that's confusing. And because most of our kids come in and they go straight into level 1, that's why we typically say 2 years, because most of our students, 95% of them, they start at level 1 and they have to do 2 years to get to that 2nd level. But the requirement, if you read the language in A through G, it's actually year 2 or above. So if they start in year 3, because they already have background in Chinese and they start in year 3, good, they're done. They got it. Okay. So hopefully that clears that up. I know some of the stuff is super confusing, but that's why we have 5 academic counselors and every student has an academic counselor. So these like nitty gritty questions, like email your counselor, make an appointment, and talk to, and like they will like spend time with you and like really individualize about your child and the questions that you may have. I think I already asked the question, like there is no option to change the pass and no pass this year. That was for last year. So that is not an option this year. I heard the AP test is not really mandatory. Can a student choose not to take an AP test because they're not confident? And how does that affect the AP grade? Yes, they do not have to take the AP test. It will not affect their AP class grade at all. The test and the class have no relationship to each other. They're 2 totally separate things. The benefit of the test is if they get a 3 or above, most of the time a 3 or above, but definitely if they get a 4 or 5, they get college credit for that. And so that's the benefit, because you can, one thing we used to say back when I was the AP coordinator at Santa Teresa, one thing that we used to say all the time is, a college class could cost you $1,000, but the AP test costs you like $95. And so if you're confident in that area, it could be really cost effective and save you money in the long run because you took that test. That's the benefit of the AP exam. Okay.
Can I add to that too?
Mm-hmm.
That even if a student gets a score lower than a 3, it will not adversely affect their chances for admissions. I mean, at least from what we hear from the CSUs and UCs, they always constantly tell us that submitting AP scores, no matter what the score is, will not adversely hurt their chances for admissions. It'll only add value, if anything.
Yeah. Son is a 9th grader now, and there's not many AP classes for 10th graders other than the AP World History. Math APs have a lot of prerequisites. What are the prerequisites for Calculus AB? The prerequisite for Calculus AB is math analysis with a C or better. Math analysis with C or better, and then they can go into calculus. So yeah, then the 10th grade year, for a lot of kids, it's just AP World History. But you know what? The 10th grade year is still really young for them to be loading up on AP classes. So a lot of kids don't take AP classes until their junior or senior year, and that's totally fine. All right, so if a student language is in year 2, they fulfill the A through G requirement. Yes, and will they have to take other classes to fulfill the 220 credit? Yes, because they still need 220 credits. It just means that they don't have to keep taking world language, they get to take other classes. So, excuse me, sorry. If you take AP Calculus in the summer and then take AP Calculus BC in the fall, and then to take the exam in May, will you get both the AP Calculus AB and BC score? I heard there's a section of AP Calculus AB in the BC exam. If you pass the AB, will you get? No, you don't. You only get credit for one exam. So, but there is a lot of AB. That is true that in the calculus, there is a lot of AB in the BC exam. Basically, the first half of calculus AB, excuse me, the first half of calculus BC is calculus AB. But you aren't, if by taking one exam, you only get credit for one exam. You don't get credit for 2 exams. Is it recommended to take physics for AP Physics 1? No, not necessarily. You don't have to. Actually, most of our kids don't. Most, you know, I would say, I think probably a better, there's a lot of math in physics. And so if they're a really strong math student, like they're already in calculus and like they got math and like it's like math is their jam, they can probably go ahead and jump into AP Physics 1.
I think the recommendation is Math 3 to go
Yeah.
into AP Physics 1.
This is always a tricky one. So the question is, if the student takes summer bridge for math analysis, can she retake the class if she doesn't do well in the summer class? Will the summer grade not be counted if she retakes? This is always a tricky one. You know, because not putting like our ability to not put something on a kid's transcript, if you're doing it through through math enrichment, because that's an outside thing, then we can say like, okay, maybe we're not going to, you don't have to turn in the transcript and you just don't tell us you did it. And then it's fine. So I would always say that like in a summer school class, first off, if they're not a very strong math student, like don't be advancing in the summer. Like if they're just an average math student, like they can hang, they can do it, but it's like not where they don't ever have to study for it and they don't ever have to work for it. Like I'm talking like they could like actually teach the class because, you know, everything the teacher's saying is super easy and they just totally get it. Those are the students that should be advancing in math. I see way too many students that have advanced in math during the summertime and then they get to a level and they're like drowning, and because math in the summer is not enough foundation to really understand it. So they have to go into the class with a strong understanding already to be able to keep doing this. This is my personal pet peeve. We have way too many students that advance during the summer and it does not work out for them. So I would be very, very careful about that. That's my recommendation. I have, okay, so this was a private question to me. The requirement to go from math 3 to the next math class is a grade requirement for both semesters. In the first semester, math grade is a D+, but next semester the student gets a C. What happens? Does the student need to retake the class? So this is only true for certain subject areas, so this is confusing. For math and world language, these are the 2 subject areas that this is true for. The second semester grade, we use the term validates the first semester grade. So if the second semester grade is higher, we use the first semester grade for the whole year. It doesn't change on their transcript. Like that D is still on their transcript and affects their GPA, but they don't have to repeat that first semester. Okay. So to move on to the next level, generally in math, except for math 1 will with D's will move on to math 2. If you fail math 1, you don't get to go math 2, but we will move you on to math 2 with D's. That's the only level we do that. Everything else you need C's in that second semester to move on to the next level. back to the languages, and you guys, we're about to be done, so I'm going to cut off the questions. I'll answer these last questions on here. Ooh, just jerked my computer. But then we're going to cut this off. And so I know there's a lot of questions, so definitely email your counselor for further follow-up questions. Back to the language questions. Students will need to take the language talk to the language teacher to be placed in 1 year, either AP. Yeah, so colleges are going to look at the transcript. If you started at the 3rd year, they're going to know that you like were at that level and you started at the 3rd year, like, because that's what's going to be on the transcript. So that's, yeah, it's not going to be a problem. Can you drop out of summer bridge halfway through if you don't feel comfortable about getting the A? Yes, you can. And honestly, I would recommend it. So yeah, if you're like, they're starting the summer bridge and like they're drowning and it's just so hard, then yes, I recommend that they go ahead and drop it. When do the grades get sent? I'm assuming you mean the semester report cards. So they were due, we had to have everything finalized this past Friday. I'm assuming they are being mailed out by the district this week. So you should get it into this week over the weekend. So the district used to be really slow about mailing out the report cards. They've gotten a little quicker about it. So they should be on their way. We don't do that at the school, the district does it. So I don't have a firm answer for you. Okay, that was a lot. I feel like I need some tea to soothe my throat. I did a lot of talking. Is Infinite Campus updated on grades? It depends on the teacher and if they've started their new grade book. So probably within the next week, yeah, Infinite Campus will be updated.
That raises a good point. They might find their semester grades on there, though.
Yeah, they might. I would email an individual teacher if you have a question about that. Okay, thank you guys so much. Hopefully this was valuable to you. I know I saw a lot of people joining in as we were going. So I think, you were texting each other like, hey, they're talking about good stuff. Next week, we're going to talk about social media, which is also good stuff. So join us for next week. Okay, thank you, everybody.